This morning, you probably ate something within an hour of waking up. Cereal, maybe. Toast. Coffee with something sweet in it. Your body expected it. Your brain nagged you for it. But the real answer to why you eat that way is far stranger than hunger. It has almost nothing to do with your stomach and almost everything to do with a clock inside your cells that is millions of years older than the word breakfast. Think about that word for a second. Break. Fast. It assumes something. It assumes that the hours before it were empty. No food, no snack drawer, no fridge light opening at midnight. For most of human history, that emptiness wasn't a diet plan. It was simply Tuesday. Your ancestors didn't wake up and reach for anything. They woke up and moved. They tracked, they dug, they climbed. They scanned the horizon for threat and opportunity in the same glance. Food came later. Sometimes much later. Sometimes not at all that day. And their bodies were built, brutally and elegantly, around that uncertainty. So what did they actually eat, and when? Not what wellness influencers imagine. Not steak and eggs at dawn. The truth is messier, and it rewires almost everything you assume about your own hunger. Start with the myth. The one where early humans were relentless meat eaters, gnawing on mammoth ribs around a fire every evening like a prehistoric steakhouse. It's a compelling image. It's mostly wrong. Anthropologist Alyssa Crittenden has spent years living alongside the Hadza, one of the last remaining hunter-gatherer societies on Earth in northern Tanzania. Her research shows that meat was actually rare and unpredictable. Most calories came from something far less cinematic: tubers, berries, baobab fruit, and above all, honey. Not honey in a squeeze bottle. Honey ripped from wild hives, bees, and all, sometimes eaten larvae included, because protein doesn't care about presentation. And here's the detail that quietly breaks the breakfast myth completely. The Hadza don't eat in 3 tidy blocks. There is no clock telling them it's noon. Meals happen when food is found, which means eating is scattered, irregular, and often skipped for stretches that would send a modern office worker into a hangry spiral by 10 a.m. Why doesn't that destroy them? Why can a Hadza hunter walk for 6 hours on nothing and still function, while you feel shaky after missing one meal? This is where evolutionary anthropologist Herman Pontzer's work becomes almost unsettling. Pontzer, at Duke University, spent years measuring the actual energy expenditure of Hadza foragers using isotope tracking, the same method used to study astronauts. His findings shocked a lot of nutrition science. Despite walking farther, working harder, and living far more physically demanding lives than the average Westerner, the Hadza burned roughly the same total calories per day, adjusted for body size. Your body, it turns out, doesn't just spend energy. It manages it. It shifts it. It compensates. Work harder in one system, and your body quietly dims another. That's not laziness. That's 4 million years of learning to survive on a food supply that could vanish for days. Which means the constant, scheduled eating you do isn't your biology asking for fuel every 4 hours. It's culture asking your biology to behave like a machine on a timetable. And your biology, frankly, doesn't remember agreeing to that. Here's the twist that reframes everything. You'd think irregular eating, feast one day, nothing the next, would be harder on the body. Chaotic, stressful. But mounting research suggests the opposite might be true for how your metabolism actually works. Satchin Panda, a circadian rhythm researcher at the Salk Institute, has spent over a decade studying what he calls time-restricted eating. His experiments show that your body isn't just reacting to what you eat. It's reacting to when. Your liver, your pancreas, even your gut bacteria run on internal clocks nearly identical to the light-dark cycle your ancestors lived by. Eat inside a compressed window, aligned with daylight, and metabolic markers improve. Eat around the clock, snacking into the night under artificial light, and those same systems start to struggle, even if total calories stay the same. In other words, ancient humans weren't accidentally healthy because they ate less. They were accidentally healthy because they ate on rhythm. Sunlight up, movement, eventual food, darkness, stop. No fridge light interrupting the signal at 1 a.m. You don't live in that rhythm anymore. Almost nobody does. You live under artificial light that never fully sets, near a kitchen that never fully closes, inside a culture that treats round-the-clock food access as comfort rather than as a biological experiment with no control group. And that's the quiet cruelty of it. Your ancestors' bodies were shaped by scarcity. Yours is surrounded by abundance, but it's still running scarcity software. It still hoards FA, but it's still running scarcity software. It still hoards fat efficiently. It still spikes cravings when it senses stress, because stress used to mean a food shortage might be coming. It still treats sugar like a rare, urgent gift, because for most of human history, sugar was rare, and it was a gift, dripping out of a wild hive a few times a year, not sitting in a bowl on your counter every single morning. So when you feel that pull towards something sweet at 3 p.m., or that panic when you haven't eaten since noon, you're not weak. You're not broken. You're a hunter-gatherer's nervous system, wearing office clothes, standing in front of a vending machine that would have looked to your ancestors like literal magic. There's another layer to this that most people never hear about, because it doesn't fit the highlight reel of paleo diets and caveman documentaries. Food wasn't just irregular. It was shared, constantly, in ways that look almost inefficient by modern standards. Crittenden's research on the Hadza describes children as young as 2 or 3, foraging for their own food, digging tubers, cracking open baobab pods, and eating independently rather than waiting for a parent to serve a plate. There was no concept of a family dinner table where everyone sat down together at 6. There was a shared landscape of food, and everyone, adults and children alike, moved through it on their own internal timeline. That single detail undoes another modern assumption. You were taught that regular family meals, at fixed times, are the healthy default, the way humans are supposed to eat. But that structure isn't ancient. It's closer to a recent invention, tied to factory schedules, school bells, and the rise of the clock as the organizing force of daily life. Your ancestors ate when food appeared. You eat when a bell tells you to. Whether that bell is a lunch break, a dinner reservation, or a phone notification reminding you it's time for a snack. None of this means chaos is healthier than structure. It means the specific structure you inherited, 3 meals, fixed hours, food always within reach, isn't a biological law. It's a schedule invented by industrial society and then quietly mistaken for human nature. And that mistake has consequences beyond just when you feel hungry. Pontzer's energy expenditure data suggests something uncomfortable about the modern food environment. If your body is built to keep total energy use remarkably stable, no matter how active you are, then eating constantly available, calorie-dense food on top of a system that isn't asking for more energy doesn't get burned off. It gets stored. Your ancestors' famine-proof metabolism, the very trait that kept them alive through lean seasons, becomes a liability the moment scarcity disappears and abundance never stops. This is the part that should genuinely unsettle you. You are not fighting a broken metabolism. You are fighting a metabolism working exactly as designed in an environment it was never designed for. The hunger you feel isn't malfunctioning. It's ancient, accurate, and aimed at a world that no longer exists. Does that mean you should throw out breakfast and eat like the Hadza? Not exactly. You can't unplug from streetlights, refrigeration, or a 9-to-5 schedule just because your biology misses the savannah. But there's something worth sitting with here. Your body isn't asking for constant fuel. It's asking for rhythm. It's asking for a rest between meals long enough to remember what hunger actually feels like, instead of mistaking boredom or habit or a clock on a microwave for a biological emergency. Maybe that's the real lesson buried under all that data. Not a diet. Not a trend. Just a quieter respect for a system that was built, patiently, across millions of years, to handle far less than what you now hand it every single day. Consider what this means for something as simple as a growling stomach. You've probably been taught to treat that sound as an emergency signal, a demand that must be answered within minutes. But physiologically, that growl, technically called a hunger contraction, is one of the least urgent signals your body sends. It shows up long before your blood sugar drops to any dangerous level. It's closer to a gentle reminder than an alarm. Your ancestors heard that same sound and kept walking, kept scanning the horizon, kept working, because answering it immediately wasn't always an option. Your body could wait. It still can. What's changed isn't your biology's patience. It's your access. Food is now so close, so fast, so cheap in effort, that the gap between signal and response has nearly disappeared, and that gap used to matter. There's a strange kind of grief hiding in that fact if you think about it long enough. Somewhere in your genetic memory is a version of you that could go a full day without eating and function just fine, hunting, gathering, caring for children, solving problems, surviving. That version of you still technically exists inside your own body. But you rarely get to meet them because the environment around you never asks that of you anymore. The skill didn't disappear. It just stopped being tested. And maybe that's the strangest twist of all. The comfort you've built, refrigerators, delivery apps, pantries stocked for a siege that will never come, was designed to protect you from the exact uncertainty your ancestors lived inside every single day. It succeeded almost too well. It solved a problem your biology never stopped preparing for, and in solving it, it created a new one nobody saw coming. A body engineered for scarcity, marinating in permanent abundance, with no instructions for what to do when the emergency it was built for simply never arrives. So tonight, when you close the fridge for the last time before bed, or tomorrow, when you feel that automatic pull toward the toaster the second you open your eyes, pause for 1 second. That pull isn't really about the food in front of you. It's an echo, a signal shaped by ancestors who never knew where their next meal was coming from, now firing inside a body that never has to wonder at all. This morning, you probably ate something within an hour of waking up. But the real reason had nothing to do with breakfast, and everything to do with a rhythm older than any meal you've ever eaten.